Oh, good. 5 of us in the same car for 7 hours. That's going to be fun. Next time on Landman.
You don't even know what game you're playing, do you?
Let's not forget who we're burying, all right?
Snakes are cannibals, did you know that? My business is similar, but we have a code. We only eat other snakes.
Are you calling Tommy a snake?
He's a hawk. And hawks, they eat snakes too.
The episode 4 trailer didn't just tease what's coming, it detonated it. The moment it dropped, it became obvious that Landman Season 2 is about to shift into a completely different gear. And if you thought episode 3 was intense, episode 4 looks like the moment every pressure point finally snaps. This trailer doesn't just promise chaos, it promises consequences. The kind that change relationships, rewrite loyalties, and drag everyone into the storm Tommy's been trying so hard to outrun. From the very first shot of the trailer, the tone is different. Heavier, sharper, and the tension around Tommy is almost suffocating. Episode 4 is clearly picking up right where we left off, with Galeno, or should I say Danny Murell, sinking his hooks deeper into everything Tommy cares about. But in the trailer, something shifts. For the first time, Tommy stops reacting and starts pushing back. And that single shift is going to explode into the biggest conflict of the entire season. The trailer shows Tommy spiraling between grief, rage, and guilt as he prepares for his mother's funeral. And you can feel the weight on his shoulders growing heavier by the second. He's trying to hold his family together while Murell is circling him like a shark that finally smelled blood. One wrong move, one single misstep, and everything falls apart. And the teaser makes it very clear that episode 4 is the point where Tommy finally stops swallowing the things he doesn't want to say, and finally breaks the deal he never wanted in the first place. Meanwhile, Angela is still in her own world, dragging Tommy into bigger houses, bigger plans, bigger dreams he never asked for. And the trailer makes that contrast painfully obvious. While Tommy is drowning, she's still showing him mansions with sweeping staircases and sparkling countertops, like nothing around them is collapsing. There's a moment in the trailer where you can see Tommy's face, and it's the same look he had in episode 3 when he called his life one big tragic cartoon. Except now, all the color has drained out of it. This is a man who's running out of patience, out of room, and out of time. And then there's Cammy. The trailer practically screams that she is walking directly into Murell's trap. We finally see their lunch, the one teased at the end of episode 3. And Murell's charm is even more unsettling when you see it in motion. He's calm, smooth, almost gentle with her. And that's exactly what makes him so terrifying. He talks about business like he's offering her a lifeline, but every line out of his mouth feels like barbed wire wrapped in silk. Cammy knows something is off. You can see it in her eyes. But she's also backed into a corner, and Murell knows it. He knows she needs stability. He knows she's desperate to untangle the mess Monty left behind, and he knows exactly how to twist that desperation into leverage. In the trailer, the moment he refers to Tommy as a hawk hits even harder than it did in the episode 4 teaser. It's not just a metaphor, it's a warning. He's telling her, without saying it outright, that siding with Tommy means stepping into the line of fire. And the worst part? Cammy actually looks conflicted. The show is clearly setting up a moment where she has to choose between her company and her loyalty. And the trailer does an incredible job of making that choice feel impossible. The funeral scenes might be the most gut-wrenching part of the entire trailer. Tommy's father returns, and the moment the camera lands on him, everything shifts. He carries that same heavy, haunted presence he always had, except now it's amplified by grief. The trailer hints that he pushes Tommy to confront the truth about their mother, and that truth isn't gentle. It's raw, it's ugly, and it's going to rip open a part of Tommy's past he spent his whole life trying to bury. There's one shot of him standing alone at the graveside that hit like a punch. No words, no dialogue, just pure emotion. And if the trailer can do that in a split second, I can't even imagine what the episode is going to do when we finally watch it unfold. But the moment everything snaps, the moment that truly defines episode 4, is Tommy confronting Murell. You hear Tommy's voice, low and sharp, saying, "I'm not playing your game." And Murell just smiles. That quiet, knowing, deadly smile. The kind of smile that tells you he already decided what happens next. And that's when you realize it. This isn't about oil. This isn't about business. This is a war. And Tommy just declared it without even realizing he did. Episode 4 is shaping up to be the turning point of the entire season. The episode where alliances shift, secrets detonate, and Tommy stops being a pawn and becomes a threat. But the terrifying part isn't Tommy breaking the deal. It's what Murell plans to do about it. The trailer makes one thing painfully clear. Episode 4 isn't just building tension. It's tightening every screw in Tommy's life until something finally breaks. And the person tightening those screws the hardest is Danny Murell. If Episode 3 introduced him as a threat, Episode 4 crowns him as the season's true villain. Every frame he appears in carries that calm, calculating danger. The kind of danger that doesn't need to raise its voice because it already knows how the story ends. And the worst part? He's playing a game no one else even realizes they're in yet. The trailer shows Murell weaving through people's lives the same way a predator moves through tall grass. Quiet, careful, and terrifyingly confident. When he talks to Cammy, there's this softness in his tone that feels like a trap wrapped in velvet. He doesn't push, he doesn't demand, he just suggests. And every suggestion is designed to steer her farther away from Tommy and deeper into his control. He talks about investment and stability, pretending like he's offering her a safe harbor in the storm. But everything about his demeanor says he's building a cage. The way he looks at her, the way he nods slowly as she speaks, the way he presents himself as someone who understands the pressure she's under. It all feels rehearsed, strategic, almost psychopathic in its precision. And Cammy, she's trying to stay grounded. You can see her trying to measure his words, trying to read between the lines, trying to keep Monty's mess from swallowing her whole. But the trailer makes it painfully obvious that she is walking a line so thin it could snap with one wrong decision. She doesn't trust Murell, but she also doesn't have the luxury of walking away from an offer that might keep the company afloat. And Murell knows this. That's what makes him so dangerous. He doesn't go after people who are strong. He goes after people who are tired, people who are grieving, people who don't have the strength left to fight back. Meanwhile, Tommy is dealing with a different kind of pressure, the kind that weighs on you even when nothing is being said. The trailer shows him at the funeral home, at the church, standing near his father, walking past relatives he hasn't seen in years. Every single moment feels like another layer of emotional exhaustion added to him. And his father? The presence he brings into the trailer is as heavy as a storm cloud. He doesn't comfort Tommy. He challenges him, pushes him, forces him to acknowledge things he doesn't want to face. There's this one moment where his father says something sharp, something that lands like a truth no one wants to hear. And Tommy's face just cracks for a second. It's small, but it's enough to show that Episode 4 is going to tear open old wounds Tommy buried so deep he forgot they were still there. Then there's Angela, still orbiting in her own universe of luxury showings and perfect lighting. In the trailer, she's pacing through another mansion with a realtor following behind her, talking about amenities and future plans, while Tommy looks like someone who hasn't slept in days. The way the camera frames them says everything. She's walking through wide spaces filled with sunlight while he's standing behind her drowning in shadows. The trailer uses that contrast so effectively. It makes you understand just how disconnected she is from the emotional and moral collapse happening right under her feet. Tommy is grieving. Angela is redecorating. But the moment in the trailer that really pulled the rug out from under me was the one that hinted at Tommy breaking the deal with Murell. It's quick, it's quiet, but it hits like a hammer. Tommy is shown confronting someone. We don't see who at first, and his voice sounds like someone who finally reached the edge. He says, "I'm done. I'm not letting this continue." And the trailer cuts to Murell smiling. That slow, unsettling smile that practically says, "You think you get to decide that?" The timing of that edit makes it clear. Tommy is stepping out of line, and Murell is already preparing his response. There's also a tense shot of Tommy shoving open a door at MTEX, his face filled with determination and dread. It looks like he's about to confront something, or someone, tied to Monty's financial mess. The trailer doesn't show who's inside that room, but the way Tommy hesitates for half a second before stepping through tells you everything. He's expecting a fight, and he knows he's walking straight into the fire. As all of these moments collide, the trailer sets up episode 4 as the point where the show stops building the fuse and finally lights it. Tommy and Murell are no longer circling each other. They're heading for a collision. And the scariest part? Every character around them is about to be dragged into the fallout. If episode 3 showed us the imbalance between the world above and the world below, episode 4 looks ready to show us what happens when those worlds crash together, and who's left standing when the dust settles. The episode 4 trailer does something brilliant. It takes Tommy's grief, his fear, his guilt, and everything he's been trying to bury, and it drags it all into the open. The funeral isn't just a sad moment for the characters, it's the emotional epicenter of the entire episode, and the trailer makes that crystal clear. There's this lingering heaviness woven through every shot connected to the funeral, like the air itself is pressing down on Tommy. You can tell he isn't just mourning his mother, he's being forced to reckon with the kind of woman she was and the childhood he lived through. And the one person pushing him toward that truth is the last person he expected, his father. In the trailer, the scenes with Tommy and his father are some of the most powerful ones. His father doesn't soften the truth. He doesn't comfort Tommy with gentle lies or warm memories. Instead, he looks him in the eye and challenges him to stop rewriting history just to make the grief easier to bear. The trailer hints that this will be the moment Tommy finally admits he didn't just lose a mother, he lost the version of her he wished she had been. And that realization hits harder than any punch. There's a quick shot of Tommy standing at the grave, his hands clenched, his jaw tight, and his father standing just a few steps behind him. No dialogue, no music, just that silence that feels heavier than anything else. You don't even need words to understand what's happening. Tommy is trying not to break, but the trailer makes it clear that this episode will break him anyway. But while Tommy is wrestling with emotional truth, Murell is busy tightening his grip. The trailer cuts between the funeral scenes and Murell's moves with such cold precision that it almost feels symbolic. While Tommy mourns, Murell advances. While Tommy tries to protect what's left of his family, Murell positions himself to control everything Tommy touches. It's two worlds colliding, grief and greed, sorrow and strategy. And Murell's strategy is vicious. One of the most chilling moments in the trailer is a brief shot of Murell talking to his wife, Bella. He's calm, collected, almost bored, but his words are razor sharp. He says something about knowing exactly what comes next, and the way he says it feels like a warning to the entire cast. Murell isn't improvising. He isn't reacting. He's executing a plan that he already mapped out, and breaking the deal is just the opening he needed. Then the trailer cuts back to Cammy, and everything clicks into place. She looks torn, exhausted, and conflicted as she talks to Rebecca and Nathan. They're going through old files again, trying to figure out how deep Monty's secrets go. But the closer they get, the darker everything looks. The trailer hints that episode 4 will reveal something bigger, something Monty was hiding that even Cammy didn't suspect. And when Murell swoops back in with his kindness, offering support and resources Cammy desperately needs, you can practically feel the pressure crushing her. There's this one moment where Cammy looks away, blinking back tears and whispers, "I don't know who to trust anymore." And the trailer doesn't give her an answer. It only cuts to Murell watching her with that cold, calculating expression. That's when you realize she's standing on a battlefield she doesn't even recognize yet. Meanwhile, Angela is off in her own storyline, but even her scenes serve a purpose. She shows up at the funeral, overdressed and overwhelmed, acting like she's stepping into a world she doesn't understand. And honestly, she isn't wrong. There's a moment where she tries to reach for Tommy's hand, and he subtly pulls away. It's tiny. It's quiet, but it speaks volumes. Episode 4 looks like the point where their relationship starts to crack, not because of one explosive moment, but because Angela is living in a world that no longer matches Tommy's reality. And then we get the first real sign of Tommy striking back. The trailer gives us a quick, intense moment where Tommy storms into an office. Maybe MTEX, maybe something tied to Murell, maybe another piece of Monty's hidden puzzle. His face is a mix of fury and hopelessness, and he slams his hand on the table, saying something like, "I'm done being played." And that line hits like thunder. Because that's the moment Tommy stops being a victim. It's the moment he steps over the line Murell drew for him. And the second he does, everything changes. The trailer ends that scene with one final punch, Murell watching Tommy from a distance, smiling. Not annoyed, not threatened, smiling. It's the smile of a man who has already planned his next move. A man who wants Tommy to fight back because it gives him the excuse he's been waiting for. With that, the trailer shifts the tone from tension to inevitable collision. It's clear that episode 4 isn't just another episode. It's the turning point, the one where Tommy takes his first real swing, and Murell quietly prepares to swing back even harder. If there's one thing the episode 4 trailer makes absolutely undeniable, it's that Tommy breaking the deal isn't just a personal choice. It's a spark that ignites everything around him. And once that spark hits, nothing in this world stays the same. The trailer captures that shift perfectly, showing the exact moment Tommy stops running and decides to fight. But the brilliance of the trailer is that it doesn't make that moment triumphant or victorious. Instead, it makes it terrifying. Because the second Tommy steps outside Murell's control, the danger doesn't just increase, it multiplies. The trailer shows Tommy walking into a meeting that clearly wasn't supposed to include him. The room falls silent as soon as he enters, the kind of silence that tells you everyone knows something he doesn't. Papers spread across the table, hushed conversations, nervous looks. It's obvious that decisions are being made behind his back. And Tommy, already pushed to his limit by grief and pressure and manipulation, finally snaps. He slams a folder onto the desk and throws out the line the trailer uses to define the entire episode. "Whatever you think you have on me, it ends now." The room freezes, and the tension in that moment feels like a wire pulled so tight it's ready to slice anyone who comes near it. The reaction from the others isn't loud or dramatic. It's scared. That alone tells you how far Murell's reach has already spread. Tommy isn't just breaking a deal with one man, he's breaking away from an entire network quietly built around him, a network he didn't even realize he was tangled in until now. And the trailer makes it clear that everyone else knows what happens when someone defies Danny Murell. Tommy is the only one still learning the rules of this game, and the penalties. Meanwhile, the fallout from his decision hits Cammy almost immediately. The trailer cuts to her in a tense conversation with Rebecca and Nathan, their voices low, their faces tight. Something in the MTEX books doesn't match up. Again. And this time, it looks worse than before. The trailer flashes through documents, signatures, dates, numbers that don't make sense. Monty wasn't just borrowing money he couldn't repay. He wasn't just patching holes with credit lines and shell companies. There's something deeper, something dangerous, something Murell is counting on no one discovering until it's too late. Cammy looks devastated. She's trying to understand how everything spiraled this far. How the company she thought she knew turned out to be hollow from the inside out. And the scene becomes even more painful when she realizes her lunch with Murell wasn't a coincidence, or kindness, or courtesy. It was strategy. He didn't offer her resources because he wanted to help. He offered because he knew she'd soon be desperate enough to take them. You can see that realization hit her like a punch to the chest. For a moment, she looks like she can't even breathe. Then the trailer delivers one of its coldest moments. Murell sitting in his office, calm as ever, telling someone off screen, "He made his choice. Now I'll make mine." His tone never rises. His expression never changes. And that's what makes it so chilling. There's no anger, no frustration, just certainty. Tommy breaking the deal wasn't a setback. It was the moment Murell had been waiting for. The trailer jumps to Tommy driving home at night, gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turn white. He looks paranoid, checking the rearview mirror, watching the shadows. And honestly, he should. Because the next scene shows a mysterious car pulling up near Tommy's property. The engine shuts off, the headlights die, And the trailer cuts away right as the car door opens. No faces, no dialogue, just the sound of gravel crunching under someone's boots. You don't need a full shot to know what that means. Murell has started making his moves. Then comes one of the most intense moments in the entire trailer. Tommy confronting Angela. She walks into their house talking about the mansion she toured that afternoon, completely oblivious to the storm Tommy is standing in. She's excited, bubbly, almost glowing, while Tommy looks like someone who's aged 10 years in a single day. When she mentions needing a quick answer on the down payment, Tommy finally breaks. His voice is sharp, frustrated, exhausted, and he says something like, "I can't carry this anymore. Not the house, not this life, not your plans." Angela's smile fades instantly, replaced with confusion and hurt. For the first time all season, she realizes Tommy's life isn't running parallel to hers. It's pulling in the opposite direction, and neither one knows how to close that gap. The trailer then returns to Murell, because everything always leads back to him. There's a final shot of him standing alone, hands in his pockets, staring out at the city from a balcony. The music cuts out, the wind picks up, and he says one quiet line, the kind of line meant to sink into Tommy's life like a hook. He thinks a broken deal is the end. It's only the beginning. With that, the trailer ends the section on a note that is both thrilling and terrifying. Tommy has taken his first step toward freedom, but in doing so, he has pulled everyone else into the battlefield with him. If the episode 4 trailer makes anything clear, it's that this is the episode where everything comes crashing down. Not slowly, not quietly, but all at once. And the final moments of the trailer tie every storyline together in a way that feels both inevitable and terrifying. Up until now, everyone has been dealing with their own separate problems. Tommy's grief, Cammy's financial nightmare, Angela's fantasies of a new life, Murell's silent chess game. But episode 4 is the point where all of these paths collide, and the trailer shows that collision with the kind of intensity that leaves you breathless. One of the most gripping sequences in the trailer is Tommy returning home after the funeral. He walks into his quiet house, still wearing the suit he hasn't changed out of, and everything feels cold, emotionally, visually, spiritually. You can tell he's not just physically tired. He's worn out in every way a person can be worn out. He drops his keys on the counter, takes a slow breath, and then freezes, because he senses something. Someone, and the trailer cuts to a frame shot of the hallway behind him, still and dark. No movement, no sound. But the tension is suffocating. It makes the viewer feel like the house is holding its breath. Then, a knock. Sharp, loud, unexpected. Tommy hesitates for half a second, and that half second feels like an entire scene by itself. When he opens the door, the trailer doesn't show us who's standing there. It only shows Tommy's face twisting into a mix of shock and confusion. And that's when it hits you. This is the moment Sam Elliott's character, Tommy's father, shows up at his door. The trailer only gives us the briefest glimpse, but the emotional weight is massive. The father and son who have been separated by years of resentment and pain are now forced into the same space, with grief pushing them together whether they like it or not.